Let's transform plain, ordinary envelopes, not even coffee dyed. These are 6.5 by 3.5, and we're going to change the way they look so that you can use them in your junk journals. You can use them 3 different ways. You could use them as a flip, a tuck spot, or tuck it into a pocket. So let's start this. Hi Best Buds, it's Cathy with Cathy's Garden, and I'm so happy that you've joined me today. I was inspired by Shabby Dabby Doodah. She posted this a couple of months ago, and we're going to do a little twist on it. So what you'll need is your envelope, and mine are 6.5 by 3.5. So take your envelope and your glue, and we're going to glue the flap down. Now you can use book pages for this. You could use music paper for this. You could use a paper pad for this, or you could use your digitals. So I have all kinds of digitals here. Most of them are from Roxy's creation. And what we're going to want to do is take one of our pages, and we're going to want to cover our envelope. And you'll want to cover it where you have glued the flap down. Instead of choosing to glue it on this side, choose to glue it on this one. And I'll explain that to you when we get to that portion. So I think this is super pretty right here, and I would like to have this on my envelope. I'm going to use my Yoo-Hoo glue stick, and I'm going to glue the center like this. Then I'm going to use my wet glue, and I'm just going to go around the edge. Then taking my paper, I'm going to place it over the top, and I'm going to trim out just a little bit. So I'm not trying to be perfect about laying this down. So we're covering the envelope on the side with the flap. And then I'm going to I'm going to cut out my envelope. So a couple of cuts, that is wonderful. Now I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm going to open up the side, and I'm going to open up the right side. So I'm just trimming off a little bit, just a smidgen, so that now your envelope opens like this. We're going to want to choose something for the inside. So let's grab my papers again, and let's just look and see, do I have anything that I've already trimmed that will work as a scrap. This was chapter 1 papers. Let's see, maybe this would work if we stuck this inside. Just trim off a little bit. I think that would be pretty. Or I could trim this off, and that could be inside. I think I'm going to do this. So I'm going to just hold my envelope like this, and I can either take my pencil and trim it around, or I'm just going to quickly cut like this. Now to get it inside that envelope, I'm going to need to cut a little bit off the edge. So I think I'll choose this side. Now let's see if we can get this inside our envelope easily. Sure enough, and it fits right inside. Now I can take it out, I can put the glue and then try to struggle to get it back in, or I could just grab my art glitter glue, and we're gluing it to the back of this envelope, this open envelope. Glue it onto the back side. Pull this out just a tiny bit, and I'll trim. So now it looks like this inside. I'm going to trim this extra paper right off. I just find it easier to do it that way. All right, so now we look like this. Now I have already prepared 2 others. And the reason why I prepared a couple of others is because we're going to need to tear on this, and we just glued it. And I can even feel right now it feels damp. So I know that tearing freshly glued paper sometimes doesn't go very well. So we're going to let this one sit for a few minutes because we're going to turn these into the 3 different types of ephemera that you can make using the envelopes in this way. So remember I said you want to glue your paper on the side with this flap, and that's because when you open it up, you can see this side has your decorative paper, but this side you can see where the flap is, and that's going to help you when you tear your opening. So let's get started. And let's start tearing. Now, if you pull this flap or this paper inwards, you won't get that white mark as much as if you take your flap and you pull it this way. So it's a little bit awkward, but you can see what you're doing. And I'm going to pull it inward, and it doesn't have to be straight, guys. In fact, that's the beauty of it. It doesn't even have to go all the way down to the bottom. Just an idea of that flap. And you can see right here that you can see where it has a lot of white right there. That's what you're avoiding by doing the pulling of the paper basically towards you. So I'm going to grab my sponge and I'm going to highlight this torn area. I just think that is so pretty. And the sponge with the color on it just brings out the tornness. Or the tornness? I don't think that's a word. It just does. Okay, it just does. Now this is the one we just made. So there's this one. So let's look. There's my backing, and then there's my portion right here. This is when I want to start. Okay, and then I'm going to pull it towards me, pulling it towards me, and I'm going to get my fingers in here so I can show you. As you can see, I'm pulling it towards me like this, and then you end up with this beauty right here. And if I highlight it for you, you'll be able to see that a little better. And I just think that's so pretty that it's torn. I just think that adds so much to this. So we have these 2. Now let's just hope that this is dry enough. And you know what? This one, well, this one, I should have turned it this way when I glued it on. But you still have your triangle right here. So I'm just using a different triangle. Instead of using this triangle, we're using this triangle. Okay, so let's start it. Okay, and I'm going to pull it towards me. I'm going to switch fingers or hands. Pulling it towards you. I think that's the hardest part of this whole thing, is getting this pulled towards you. Here we go. There we go. Gorgeous. Very nice. And a little bit of ink really does set it off. Then I'm going to ink the back portion of this. All right, so there we have our 3 envelopes that we have torn out the paper so that we have a nice little pocket right here. Trying to figure out why that's like that. I don't know. Have no idea. All right, so I said 3 ways. Let's bring in some coffee dyed line book page, and let's take this one and let's glue our line paper right onto the back of our envelope right here. So I'm going to do the same thing I did earlier, putting my glue stick on and then a little bit of glue around the edge, because I didn't get my glue all the way to the edge. I know I did not. And then let's just pop this down. I don't know if that red line will show, so I'm going to move it over just in case it would. And we're going to trim this out now. Okay, that looks wonderful on the back of that. So now I'm going to use my ink, and I'm just going to ink it up just a little bit. Alrighty, so now what I want to do is I'm going to bring my whale tab punch, and I've got lots of scraps here, and so I think we can use this. I think that would be a beautiful color. I'm going to fold it in half like this, and then I'm going to place that fold in first and punch that out. So now we have our tab, and of course I'm going to want to ink it just a little bit. I am using that vintage photo. I wasn't using vintage photo for quite a while, but then my frayed burlap just totally it just dried up. No matter if I put water on it, no matter if I put more ink on it. When I put the ink on it, it changed to blue. It was just really weird. So I just got my into my stash, and I got my vintage photo out. Now I'm going to pop this little tab right on the top here, just like this. This one you can use by sticking it into a pocket. You can journal on the back, and then you have a place for a tuck spot, and we need to decorate it up just a little bit, but I think we'll make our 3 ways and then we'll decorate. So this one right here is our second envelope. I have some coffee dyed copyweight paper here, and I'm going to take my glue stick, and I'm going to add my glue to the back of my envelope, and I think this is finished, so I might as well throw that away. I need to get a new one out, and I'm going to add my glue like this, and I actually might do a little bit in the center because that glue stick I don't think was really gluing anything. Now when we place this down, you'll want your opening to be on one side, and the other side you're going to leave yourself about 3/4 of an inch, about something close to that, and you're going to glue this down, and you're not going to cut this side. We're going to cut this side. I'm going to stuck to my scissors. There we are. Now what you'll want to do here is we're going to fold it like this. And I'm actually going to add a little bit more glue right on the edge of the envelope. Right on the edge of the envelope. Now what you can do with this is you can use this for a flip on a page. So you've got your built-in hinge because you've left yourself a space right here when you added your backing paper. So right here you have a flip in your book and you still have your pocket. You could also put a tab here if you wanted to pick it up to flip it. That's another idea that you can use. So that's something you can do. And then we have this one right here that you don't put anything on the back. And you glue this either by gluing 2 sides or 3 sides, and you use it as another tuck spot. So you just glue this completely onto a page. So you have used your envelopes, and you can make them in 3 different ways. Now let's decorate. I think this is when it just really comes together and it just looks so gorgeous. I have spent a little bit of time and I have Fussy cut out my Porch prints. I think they're called snippet rolls, her snippet roll. And I cut a whole bunch out. And, oh, there's Judgy. He's crying because one of the girls went out to go potty and he doesn't. He wants to go with her is basically what it is. So I'm just trying out a few things. Of course, I gravitate towards the flowers, but this moth looks gorgeous with that green. I like this because there was a flower there and I thought, oh, that's pretty, but maybe we can pick up the blue that's inside there. Oh, look, we've got a card, a playing card. You could add that. There's a teapot. There's a playing cards while you're drinking your tea. Yeah, you could do that. That's pretty cute. I like that. And let's see. Do we want this one? This one's really pretty too. And then there's this. Oh, here's a blue bird. Let's see about this blue bird. Judgy, it's okay. He's like, no, it's not. Are you kidding me? She's outside and I'm not out there with her. So there's a bluebird. Here's a bluebird. Oh, that's really sweet. We're going to need something back behind that, though, for that to really stand out. I love this one. I think this one's super cool. All right, so let me get some other papers and see if I can get Judgy to settle down. All right, so I dug in my scrap bin and I came up with some coffee-dyed tracing paper. I think what I would like to do is glue my little birdie onto my tracing paper. All the dogs are back in the house and in their places, so no one's fussing. So we shouldn't have any more dog issues. Okay, just tear this out. I think we're just going to tear around it like that. And of course, a little bit of inking just to take the white color off. And then let's see, how does that look here? I think that's going to look lovely. I have a dish full of bling, flat back pearls, some buttons. I have some labels in this dish right here. Maybe we can add a label. Now remember, this is your hinge, so it's not really going to be, we don't want to glue anything on it. Oh, I like that. That's pretty. Let's glue that down. let's glue our label. Now these labels are from Chapter 1 papers. Glue this down. Okay. There we go. And we've got some lace and flowers. There's this, I think. Now the hinge is here. Remember, we've got our hinge, so I can't forget that. That if we add, it won't hinge out properly if we put this on there. That won't work. But I do want a little something on here. Maybe something like this. That lifts up. I could stick that on there. Oh, I like that. That's pretty. I don't know. I think I'll just leave that like that. I'm going to I'll use my Surebonder high tip hot glue gun. It has that special tip on it. And we're going to need to pop this here. There we are. A little bit more glue on there. Give it a trim. That's really pretty. Maybe a button here. It's not bad. I have a bow somewhere here. How about a bow? Well, that's pretty sweet right there, like that. Or maybe it's a little too big. I don't know. I do like that. I have a little bit of lace here. Okay, let's put a little dollop of glue right here. And our lace, just kind of switch it on there, remembering that can't really go too far past the edge because of the hinge. Now, do I want the button or do I want this little flower? No, I think I want the button. Another little dollop of glue. And I like to put thread through my buttons. I just think it adds a lot. And of course, do we want flat back pearls or maybe we want some bling? Ooh, that bling is pretty. I know that everything is kind of on this one side, but I kind of like it. I kind of like that. I can't tell you why. I just do. So we're going to pop it right there. Alrighty, so this is the one that goes on the page and you hinge it out so that you can journal on it. You can have some active movement. You could put a tab right here and have it to where it actually says pick this up and move this and flip it over. I think that turned out really nice. Now there's this one right here. This is the one in which you glue completely down onto the page, or you glue it down on just a few sides and use it as another tuck spot. I'm going to add this net right here, and let's see if I can get a little bit of movement out of it. And we're going to place Yeah, I don't know if I want what I want on here. I don't want to lose anything. That's pretty sweet. So it's a tag. Basically, we made a tag. So we could have it come. I should move this up so you can see a little better. We could have it come over the edge a little bit. Let's go ahead and do that. Add my glue and then pop our lace right over the top like that. I'll trim it out. Pretty cute. And then we've got that net. We have our teapot. And we have they're playing bridge. I'm sure people still play bridge. My mother played bridge all the time. It is not an easy game. It is not. Okay. I'm going to glue that on there. And I guess I should have my teapot sitting a little straighter, huh? Okay, maybe something like that. Maybe something like that. Okay, maybe this is where I could put a bow. I've got some sari silk in my lap. Maybe this color of sari silk would be sweet. I think we need to make it not as wide though, a little narrower. Now this sari silk's from Crimson Heart Studios, and I will list her shop down below. Okay, you're gonna get strings if you do that ripping. Oh, it's stuck on my finger. And let's just tie it into a bow. Okay. Bow. We want it down here and have this on top. No. I'm going to put it here. Okay, I kind of like that. I think I'd like a little bit more net to go underneath. So I'm just going to twist it a little bit just to give it a little motion. And then I can put my bow on top of the net. And then let's just add our sari silk down the side. Like this. There we are. There we go. That's cute. That's really sweet. Do I want any down here? That might be way too much. Maybe, how about if we add this down here? That'd be okay. I don't know. It just seems like it might need something down there. Maybe just a little less. Maybe something like that. Just for it, like the teapot needs a little table to sit on or something. I don't know. It just seemed like it was kind of out up in the air. Okay, let's do that. Let's just glue that little piece that we had right there. And then let's glue. I'm gonna keep my teapot straight. The other, yeah, well, it's gonna be tipped a little bit. Like that. Oh, that is super cute. Super cute. So this is the one that you glue down, okay? Do we want maybe a little bit of bling on here? Of course. How about a flat back pearl in the center of the bow? If I get that, I never can get it put on like that. There we go. Center of the bow. And then how about if we add that's super cute. Our next one, here it is. It's just like this. We've got our butterfly or moth. I've got this pretty Sari silk color. I also have this one. I don't know which one is better. I like this a whole lot. And what's this one? This one is the tag, where you actually put it in a pocket and you just take it out to write on. I'm going to cut this like this, and not quite long enough to put it here. We could put it down below. What else do I want going on here? Do I want to use this, or do I want to use, we just used that one. Nope. I thought I had another one. Maybe it fell on the floor. Okay, we're going to use this one, and it's way too wide for this project. So let's tear this one. Have a seam right there. And let's just scritch it right here. So we're going to add some hot glue, and then we're just going to, with our finger, glide it on the glue. Just get it scritched up like that. Okay. That's pretty cute. And then we're going to put the moth. I think I'm going to go ahead and take this all the way down. As you can see, this stuff is everywhere. It's just sticking to me everywhere today. This one's wider. All right. This is real pretty. Do I want a label on this at all? I don't think I want to cover anything up. The labels are in a dish right here. Okay, I think I need a little something else. All right, I had to work with it a little bit. I made a bow out of the little bit that we had left. So I think I'd like to pop that bow right there on the tab. And then I have a little bit of this lace that I'm going to pop right down here on the bottom. Just like that. Okay. And then our little moth, he's going to set right there. So I'm going to use my art glitter glue. Pop him right there. And I have some bling, but I think 3 is way too many. I think just 2. I'll put 2 on his body. So a little bit of glue. And right there on the body. And then the extra one, let's pop right there on the knot of the bow. Oh my. So we have 3 now. It's thundering. Can you hear it thundering? Here are the 3 different ways in which we turned our envelope into a tuck spot on the page, where you glue it down 3 sides, and another tuck spot where you put a hinge on it, and you can hinge out your little envelope, or you can make it into a tag. Either way, any of these, it would be absolutely adorable if you put it in your journal. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please give me a thumbs up. I invite you to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next video. I'll see you there, guys. Bye now.